Yeah, good evening all. So myself, I'm Vijay. Like I hold nearly 20 plus years of experience, which includes nearly 10 plus years of experience in this data engineering side, right? So before I start, can anyone please confirm whether my voice is clear, whether the screen is visible or not, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Fine. Fine. So first talking is cloud. If I say cloud, right? It is majorly utilized for, yes, cloud is majorly utilized for storing, analyzing, and delivering, right? In various forms. So cloud is majorly utilized for storing, analyzing, and delivering data in various forms. So here, data engineers with the help of cloud services, right? Work on the data and make it structured, and useful, right? Yes. So cloud is utilized for storing, analyzing, and delivering data. So everything deals with the data here. Data engineers with the help of this cloud services work with this data and make it structured and useful, right? So this data engineers responsible for data flow, for data flow. It is responsible for data flow smoothly from source to destination. From source to destination, right? So generally, uh, primary role of this data engineer, right? Yes. Preparing the data, preparing data, cleansing data, cleansing data, transforming data. It does transforming the data, right? Processing the data. So he does preparing, cleansing, transforming, processing the data. So this is, we say, data wrangling. It takes lot of time. This is going to take lot of time, right? For example, data scientist later uses it for their work. So this wrangling the data for the data scientists. So data engineer, like nearly, if we talk uh, more than 80% of data analysis work is done data engineers, right? More than 80% of the data analysis work is done by data engineers. I'll come back to this Azure data engineer, but first observe this. 80% of the data analysis work is done by this. Okay. So even we perform a lot of operations on this huge data, right? So generally, later data scientist, what is the role of data scientist as compared with the data engineer, right? Data scientist, he will analyze the data. He will analyze the data. He will identify the patterns. He is going to identify the patterns within that. And he is going to perform recommendations. He is going to perform recommendations, right? For the future, for the future. Okay. In the case of data, if talk about this data analyst, okay, he also performs, right? Analyze the data, is going to analyze data. Summarize data, is going to summarize the data of the past. Visualizing the data. Okay, here once. Data scientist strategizes. Data scientist strategizes for the future, and data analyst summarizes the past. Strategizes for the future, summarizes for the past. But here, if we talk 80% of the data analysis work is done by the data engineers. So total preparation of data, transforming, processing as per that requirement, right? Yes. So if we talk data engineer, right? He does the groundwork. I can say he does the groundwork for data scientist and analyst. In this data engineering, right? Yes. We're going to see like what are the sources of the data? What are the sources of data? Secondly, what is the format of the data? What is the format of the data has to be taken care? How to transform data? How to transform data? What is the destination? What is the destination means target? Destination of the data means, so I said, right? For the smooth flow of data from the source to the destination, responsible for data flow smoothly from the source to what are the sources, what is the format from where you need to get the data, how to transfer. Yes, and what is the destination of the data? So data scientist strategizes for the future, and the data analyst summarizes for the past. Okay, before I go with this Azure Data Engineer, right, tasks. Okay. So if you talk about on premises and on cloud premises, on premises, right? On premises, on premises, what are the things, right? Uh, we need to set up, our own hardware infrastructure. So here we need to set up our own hardware infrastructure. Again, on top of that, OS installation. And if you want to create anything, right? If you want to create any data warehouse, or if you want to create some database installation, right? On top of that, purchasing database license. Next, like installation, right? Installation of database server. Designing database objects. So on premises, if you want to do all this, needing hardware setup, OS installation, purchasing the licenses, installations of this database. So to maintain all this, right, we require separate teams. We require separate teams, like hardware team. We require hardware team, right? We require operating system team, right? Networking team, security team, and finally, like database administrators. But here, this is on premises, but here, everything in cloud premises, right? Everything in cloud premises. We no need to maintain. We no need to maintain all this. No need to maintain any infrastructure. No need to maintain any infrastructure. We don't need to maintain any, no need of any licenses. No need of any licenses, right? Here, everything in cloud environment. Everything in cloud environment. So I'm going to discuss about all this Azure data engineering products, right? We have got many. We'll be discussing one by one. But here, everything in cloud environment, just to create the instance, and your applications can start reading and writing, right? And perform many operations. Okay. Now coming to this Azure data engineer. Okay. Why or who Azure data? Why Azure data engineer, right? Azure data engineer. Okay. For example, observe this diagram, right? This is an organization. This is an organization. It wants to increase the business revenue. It wants to increase the business revenue by utilizing the customer behavioral data on its website. It wants to increase the business based on the customer behavioral data on its website. So the organization, it uses Azure for its operation. Organization using Azure for its operation. So it hides two persons. It hides two. Data scientist, Azure data engineer. Assume. So the organization is going to hire Azure data engineer and a data scientist. And this Azure data engineer, first, what he is going to do? He is going to create a data warehouse. Creates a data warehouse for the organization. So data warehouse is a storage of structured and queryable data, right? It is a storage of structured and queryable data. It contains data. So AD, Azure data engineer and data scientist. So he's going to create a data warehouse for the organization. It's a storage of structured and queryable data. So it contains data from various resources. So this data warehouse, it is going to contain resources from such as user logs, clicks, existing customer data, right? Data engineer structures the data, stores it, and monitors it in this data warehouse. So next, the data engineer is going to communicate with the data scientist. Data engineer is going to communicate with the data scientist to understand the data requirement, to understand the data requirement in what format. And he also communicate with the business team. He also communicates with the business team, right? To know the business requirements of the organization. He has to keep in mind the business needs when dealing with the data, right? Yes. So data means from the file systems you'll be getting, from databases you'll be getting, right? So you perform all this extracting, transformation, loading, everything done by this is data engineer. So later, just after processing the data explorations, data reporting, right? So data scientist analyze and creates insights. The data scientist later, he analyzes and creates insights from the processed data. So the business team requires a dashboard tool, right, for visualizing of the key insights. So it helps the team read the data, right, easily. So the data engineer constantly is going to process, analyze, and monitor the data. The data engineer here constantly keeps on processing, analyzing, and monitoring the data, right? He is going to create a data pipelines. He's going to create, what is the other? He's going to create data pipelines through which the data is integrated with the stages. Okay, fine. Just coming back. Okay, now a role of Azure data engineer. A role of Azure data engineer, right? Check this. So just I given an overview of it. Now, what is the main role of a Azure data engineer? First thing, architecture, design, right, of the entire data flow. Architecture design of the entire data flow. First thing. Secondly, first thing is architecture design of this entire data flow. Data warehouse creation. Data warehouse creation, right? So what it does, creates data warehouse. Storage of analytical data. Creates data warehouse for storage of analytical data. Secondly. Third, he is going to perform ETL, is going to perform ETL, right? Extract, transform, and load. Extract, transform, and load. ETL process is the key task of data engineers. So he's going to need to extract data from multiple sources, transform it into structure query, the structured data in the variable form data, and then load this data into company storage service for further business evaluations by the data scientist. And later, not only that, extracting, transforming, here also like data monitoring, right? Data monitoring, right? Means data engineers make sure that the ETL is performed in a proper way and the data is available anywhere it is required or needed. And also not only data, yes, data security. Ensuring data security is a major responsibility of data engineers. The data need to be secure at each step of the process without any leaks or exposure, right? And also, as I said just before, collaboration and communication, right? Collaboration and communication, right? With the business team to check if the team needs some data insights. Collaborating with the data scientists also necessary to deliver the data as per the requirement. Deployment. If the business team requires data on a certain platform in a structured manner, okay, to understand the insights, logs, or reports, data scientists or data analyst requires the data to be delivered in a particular platform. Data engineers will have to deploy and maintain such a platform. Analytics. Data engineers analyze the data and transform it into structure and useful format. They need to have some analytical and mathematical things to perform this analysis. Yes. Main roles of this data engineer: create architecture design of the entire data flow, data warehouse creation. Main thing is ETL and data monitoring, right? Data security in the data monitoring, right? The ETL is performed properly or not, and check whether data is available. Data security is one more, and the communication with this business teams and the data scientists, deployment and analytics. So if I talk about this Azure data engineering, Azure data engineering, data engineering products. So various data engineering products, Azure data engineering products, right? Yes. First thing, Azure SQL, right? Azure Data Lake. So as part of the course, I'll be discussing all this, right? Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Azure Synapse, Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, Azure Cosmos DB, Azure Streaming. So Azure SQL, Azure Data Lake, Synapse Analytics, Data Factory, Databricks, Cosmos. Azure Key Vault. Azure SQL, just as of now, I'll just give overview of these products. Later we discuss in brief.
So just a quick question.
Yes.
So where do we use PySpark then?
Azure Databricks.
So do we need to know, means is it mandatory to have a programming background to understand that?
Python. So generally, Spark with Python, we say, right? So
Yeah.
Spark is, and what is that we mostly used today? So which has got multiple language support, right? Like it has got by default, it is built using Scala language, and other languages like Python, Java, and OR language it is going to support. But as in the current industry, right, two major languages are used for that Spark, right? We say with Python and with Scala. So in our course, we use Python, right? Python programming, right? Yes.
Okay.
So one more question.
Yeah.
Sir, is it connected with AWS Databricks, or that is completely different and Azure is completely different?
Yeah, different it is.
Okay.
So, okay.
And one more question, sir. Like
Yes.
these products are like we will complete one after the other. Or it's independent classes like Databricks separate class, Data Factory separate.
So data, okay, even people think the duration of the course is nearly I'm going to spend 2.5 to 3 months, right? So if anyone wants to attend parallelly also, they can attend it parallelly, right? The Databricks, Data Factory, these things. If I start any Databricks, right, you can go parallelly with that.
Okay.
So definitely we need to know programming for this, right?
Basics of this Python required, right? Basics of Python. It's not a
Oh.
Python.
The object-oriented programming, right? OOPS concepts, everything we need to know in Python.
Not at least like Python core programming, like collections, functions, these things, basics are required.
Okay.
So just for a session or time, I'll be just giving the syntaxes of Python before I go with that, right? I can just provide the syntaxes before I go with the practical part. Python is not a complex programming, right? Like normal English statements, you can easily analyze what is happening within that. Okay. It is a cloud RDBMS database, right? Yes. So RDBMS, it's a cloud RDBMS database of Microsoft. In Azure. So here it is for OLTP operations. So I'm not going to.
Sir,
yes.
Sir, if my this trial subscription for Azure Databricks and even other Azure is over, so what if I want to enroll for this course?
Yes, I'm going to show you, right, how we can do all those things, how we can extend it. OLTP. So it is going to capture OLTP, it is for OLTP operations. OLTP system captures, right? End user transactions. End user transactions. So here Azure SQL, it is for OLTP. It is going to capture this end user transactions. Means transactions means whenever transactions are performed, each and every transactions has to be stored or recorded in the database, right? So like banking or telecom, anywhere, right? So whatever that OLTP operations, depositing, withdrawing, transferring, everything we need to be stored, right? So we have, I actually, if we go, we have got regular RDBMS, NoSQL databases. Even we have got Cosmos DB comes in NoSQL, right? And here in Azure SQL, it is cloud-based RDBMS of Microsoft, right? Fine. And if you have got, see this Azure Data Lake, just Azure Data Lake. See, DFS, distributed file system, right? I want some distributed file system. So if you heard about HDFS, Hadoop distributed file system, it is on premises. But some distributed file system, right? File system. The two with unlimited data storage, with unlimited data storage. In cloud. That is data lake. Some distributed file system with unlimited data storage in cloud, that is data lake. So here, if you have knowledge on this Hadoop, in Hadoop, we got Hadoop distributed file system. That is on premises. On premises distributed file system. And here Azure data lake, right? Cloud DFS. Cloud distributed file system. So I can say it is a repository of large varieties, right? Of large varieties of structured, unstructured, right? And semi-structured. It is a repository of large varieties of structured, unstructured, and semi-structured data, right? Yes. So it is a unlimited data storage in cloud, that is data lake. And if we talk like a data factory, ADF. It is a cloud-based ETL, extracting, transforming, and loading, or Microsoft. In Azure Cloud Platform. It is a cloud-based ETL of Microsoft in Azure Cloud Platform. So I can say Azure Data Factory is a data integration service. Is a data integration service, right? Yes. So if you say raw data comes from one side, processed data comes from other side. So data integration, I can say. That is being transformed. That is being transformed as per destination, right? As per destination, right? Okay. So this ADF will permit us to combine data from multiple sources, reformat it into analytical models, and save these models for querying, visualizing, and reporting, right? So yes. So ADF creates workflows for data movement and transformations. So we'll get the data from the sensors, IoT, logs, media files, normal files, business applications, custom applications, right? So just we are going to take it, ADF is going to extract it and later storing in this Azure data lake and just preparing and training by Azure Databricks. Next, finally performing querying, visualizing and reporting on this, right? Azure Databricks. I can say it is a Apache Spark based. It is Apache Spark based data analytics, right? Platform. For Microsoft Azure Cloud Services platform, right? So it is going to accelerate innovation by bringing a data science, data engineering, and business together, right? It makes the process of data analytics more productive, right? And more secure and scalable and with optimized, right? So it is totally Spark-based data analytics. Azure streaming analytics we have got. Azure streaming analytics. Stream analytics. Stream analytics is a real-time analytics. A real-time analytics, right? And event processing engine. For analyzing and process high volumes of streaming data, high volumes of streaming data, right? Yes. So for analyzing and process high volumes of streaming data from multiple sources. Simultaneously, right? Yes. Azure Cosmos DB. So here streaming analytics set is real-time analytics and event processing engine for processing high volumes of streaming data. What is streaming data? Data which keeps on generating, data which keeps on incrementing, right? Such data we call like streaming data, right? Azure Cosmos DB. Secondly, it is Azure cloud-based multi-node NoSQL database. We have got many NoSQL databases. Columnar based, graph based, key value based, right? Azure Cosmos DB is fully multi-node NoSQL database. Azure Cosmos DB is a NoSQL and relational modern app development, right? Modern application development. So NoSQL means schema-less behavior, random access, no schema, right? Yes. Record to record, different number of fields can be maintained, right? Azure Cosmos DB is a NoSQL relational database for modern application development. Azure Synapse Analytics. Azure Synapse Analytics, right? So Azure Synapse Analytics, right, that accelerates time to insight across data warehouses and big data systems. It brings together the SQL technologies used in enterprise data warehousing, Apache Spark technologies for big data, and Azure data for log and time series analytics, right? And finally, Azure Key Vault. So I can say this Synapse Analytics insight across Azure Key Vault. So we need secure key management is essential to protect data in the cloud, right? So we use like Azure Key Vault to encrypt keys and small secrets like passwords that use keys stored, right? Secure key management, I can say secure key management to protect data in the cloud. Yes. Later I discuss about the differences between this data Azure ADF, ADB, Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, Azure Data Lake, and this Databricks, right? Yes. Differences between this Azure Data Factory and Azure Data Lake, Data Factory and Databricks, right? But we see the current job market of this Azure Data Engineer, right? Yes. Job market of Azure Data Engineering. See, if you talk like according to Microsoft, right? Every year around like 3 lakhs new companies register themselves on Azure. More than 95% of this Fortune 500 companies are utilizing this Azure cloud services. So increasing the number of job opportunities for Azure data engineers constantly means as the companies registering in this in the Azure, right? 95. Okay, then they were getting lot of job opportunities for Azure data engineers. So Azure's growth rate is increasing, right? and major companies are beginning to trust and adopt Azure, right? So organizing, shifting to Azure or already are utilizing it, need professionals who can work on this Azure and handle big data, huge data, right? So these data engineers have the highest average salary as closely to these data scientists. See, according to the survey, right, these are the two, these data engineers and data scientists, the two, one of the two top two highest paying jobs, data engineer, data scientist. So always pursuing a data engineer, right? A career with this data engineer will never let you down, right? Yes. So even if you see like many companies like Facebook, Intel, Microsoft, Amazon, all are interested in hiring data engineers with a great salary packages. And even the tech giants, including Google, Apple, Cognizant, Walmart, all this, they are offering high paying jobs for these data engineers. So yes, some queries was asked, right? So is it to move, can we move from data scientist to data engineer, or data engineer to data scientist? Yes. Transitions do occur, right? Frequently, professionals frequently switch between this employment in data science and data engineering and vice versa, right? Okay.
So I just have a question.
Yes.
So in these 8 modules that you discussed, in which places we need programming knowledge?
Yes. So mostly we use in, where is it? One second. So the programming knowledge in the sense, we use Python, right? We use Python.
Yes.
Python is required.
In which module it's required? Data factory or data bricks?
Data bricks and data factory.
Both, okay.
Yes. So
Because in AWS, the whole application is designed with programming only. So do we have the same thing
here also programming required. Programming means you won't write a huge codes and programs codes, right? We have got inbuilt, as we have got many inbuilt functionalities provided, right?
Yeah.
We don't write huge codings like, and the two Python.
But I'm not from programming actually. I haven't done programming in my 10 years of IT experience. So I use only tools and drag and drop tools, and like that only I did actually.
No. Whatever we do here, right? Even you won't write large codings here in Python. And the two Python is the statements look like normal English statements. We won't write huge codes right here. Okay. So one more query asked, primary role, right? Data engineer compared to data scientist. So say here, data engineers and data scientists, before I discussed, right? So the data engineers generally focus on designing, constructing, maintaining data pipelines and infrastructure to ensure, right, the data flow and the storage. Data scientists, right, they're going to analyze data to extract insights and build some models. They are going to build some models to solve the business problems, right? So generally, just one more query asked, right? Technical skills for data engineer means, so you need to have some database. So you need to have some expertise in some database. You need to have some database knowledge, and also just like programming, just Python and SQL, right? Basics of Python and basics of SQL, not a huge programming knowledge required. So just some ETL processes, programming language like basics of Python and SQL, that's enough. Not. But in the case of data scientists, you require like strong skills in statistics, in ML algorithms, and you need to have this command on this entire Python programming, right? It will like that for implementing those. Even if they need to have the knowledge of data scientists, need to have the knowledge of Python language or language. Yes, you have got jobs on ADF, ADB, right? You can get job only on Azure. Data factory jobs are available. Data bricks jobs are there, right? Many. Okay. So in brief, in depth, we'll be discussing everything, point to point, we'll be discussing whatever. Don't worry, the people who are asking about the programming, nothing, 100% whatever we discuss. The prerequisites also, whatever we required as part of the course, I'll be just discuss. I'll give that knowledge on that before I go with that practical part. So we'll be spending time on that. In brief, in depth, you'll be getting command on all these things, right? So 1 second. You see that Azure Data Engineering, right? Cloud services, types of clouds. Just some introduction of about these clouds before we go with this some big data introduction base, some dimensional modeling, Azure SQL database, right? Azure SQL database, Azure storage service, blocks, Azure data lake, storage services, Azure data factory, right? Pipeline activity, linked service data sets, okay? Working with copy activity, some practical scenarios, right? And as Databricks, Azure Databricks, Azure Synapse Analytics. And just to go through this course content, right? It is kept in this chart. You can see.
So, sir, one more question.
Yes.
Sir, is it easier than AWS, or is AWS and this one same?
No. It's easier, right? Azure is the easier one.
Okay.
It will be simple, and everything we'll be discussing point to point, right? I'll make it simple and easier to you, right? Fine.
Okay.
So if any topic, right? First, I'll just describe it what it is. Next, we'll go with that, right? Implementation of that. Not directly going to the implementation of it, right?
So how
Okay,
the scope about ADF developer and Azure data engineer?
Azure, okay, so okay, 1 second. Azure Data Factory, you're talking, right? Azure Data ADF.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
I study only ADF developer. Is that fine to get a job in market?
Yes. Absolutely.
Which is best, whether ADF developer or data engineer?
Data engineer, you need to have the entire knowledge, right? So you need to have that entire knowledge of all this. So it's as a current requirement, right? Requirement based data engineer will be preferred, where you will be the entire knowledge on all these components, right?
Okay. And one more thing. So in this course, you will cover that interview preparation, like question answer and material.
Yes.
Everything will be able to cover. No?
See, one thing is you'll be getting every session recording, even if you miss any one session or two session, right? So you can just go through for the better understanding. One thing is regularity is required. And even if you miss any 1-2 session because of ill health or because of some office work, try to just go through the video and attend the next session. And second thing, interaction session. All the sessions should be interactive sessions. You keep on responding, and you'll be getting the clear notes of all these things, whatever I discussed, and interview questions as you asked, and a WhatsApp group will be created for this. And people who just wants only ADF means this is entire this all this I'll be discussing. But people who wants only ADF, they can attend only ADF and go off. And there'll be people who wants only ADB. At that ADB, when it starts, they will attend it. Or people who wants all this attending, they need to have the entire knowledge of this, will be attending all these products.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, fine. So yes.
Vijay, one quick question here. It's Azure Databricks also database, Synapse also database. Databricks is popular for ML and so many other things. Why do you want to go to, let's say you want to store the data, why you are going for a Synapse instead of the Databricks, vice versa? Okay. That's one question. Is Git or version control is part of this whole course? Those are the questions.
Okay, 1 second. So Databricks, right? So totally we discuss about this PYSPARK, Azure Databricks with PYSPARK. So, and talking about this Synapse, you're talking about streaming analytics. Streaming analytics, right? So we'll deal with streaming data. So from multiple sources where we are going to capture it and going to process it, right? And okay. And as part of this course, whatever I showed, right, that is going to be covered. Azure SQL, Azure data like Synapse Analytics data. Mostly I'll be spending time with this data, Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks mostly, and the other things also I'll be discussing in brief. So these are the two: Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, and Synapse are the three things, right, which has got a great demand. Remaining all things, okay, will be discussed, will be given knowledge, entire knowledge of this. Okay. Fine.
Sorry, where does Azure SQL comes into play here? Like, because we are talking about the big data, and Azure SQL is pretty much like a transaction.
It is just a transactional, right? It's a cloud audit. So just I'm going to discuss about the service of it.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I'm saying the products of this Azure, right? So Azure SQL, but and just I'm going to give knowledge on that. It's a cloud RDBMS database, right? It's just given by it for OLTP operations. It's not for DWH, right?
Are we doing some kind of sample project as part of this course? We are taking something. Okay, we want to develop. Okay,
I'll be showing you. I'll be showing you at the end. I'll be showing you, right? So
okay.
Yes.
Let's say if we want to open the Azure account, how much money is going to cost me? Let's say.
So about those things, right? About these things, I'll be, so don't worry about all those things. Even after that, how we are going to proceed, everything I'll be discussing it as part of it. So now I doesn't want to discuss anything about that things, right? So
Okay.
even after that, how we can do it, I'll be saying, right? How we can proceed further, even after elapsing, right? That everything I'll be discussing, how we can do it. Okay. And timing will be the fixed timing at 6 o'clock. There won't be any change in the time daily, and the duration will be like 2.5 months to 3 months, right? We'll be discussing all this in brief. So don't worry about all this. Whatever is required, practical step by step, I'll be showing you clearly all these things. Don't worry about it. Yes. Any other queries, right?
Sir, in Athena, just one more question, sir.
Yes.
So in Athena, normally, if the more time the query runs, the more amount we need to pay to the AWS or something like that. It's designed like that. So in Azure also, if I fire a query, the more longer it runs or more data it fetches, we need to pay more amount to the Azure?
No, not like that.
Okay. Okay, it's not designed like that, right?
Yes, it's not designed like that. Azure is much flexible than that.
Okay.
Hi Vijay, we can go for ADF for mains. ADB is required or not?
ADB is not required for ADF.
Only ADF developer, it will be jobs available in nowadays.
Only ADF. If you want to go, only ADF you can go. ADB you can go, right?
What is the use of Synapse?
ADB with PYSPARK, right?
Synapse, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Is it a daily class or is it?
So it's a weekday, every regular class, right? It's not a weekend class, it's a weekday class. And people, okay, one more thing, right? So people, if anyone, right, who wants, there is a separate batch on PYSPARK also, right, available. Totally a PYSPARK on this Saturday at 5:30 p.m. There is a new batch of PYSPARK, right? If anybody like 5:30, and it deals with only PySpark, Spark with Python implementation, and also like there is one more batch if anybody interested on this big data Hadoop, and which both PySpark combined big data Hadoop, right, on Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Okay. Big data Hadoop data, right? Big data Hadoop, right? On Saturday 7th. It's a these are weekend batches, but as whatever I'm discussing now, it's a regular batch. Tomorrow also people can attempt to see more discussion on this one. Yes. Fine.
Only Hadoop, only PySpark batch is how long, sir?
Okay, it's a 1 second. PySpark. So 12 weekends. Only on Saturdays and Sundays it will be.
So in this course, are we going to cover in detail in PySpark, or is it?
It's totally
some-
only PySpark, right? Totally PySpark. 12 weekends we will be spending. Lot of discussions will be lot of things. You can see the course content, you will understand how much depth we go in this PySpark. Even
in
if
this course, are we going in detail of PySpark?
yes, you can once check
Okay.
this course content, right? And in this Hadoop, like Hive component, Scoop component, NoSQL databases, HDFS, all this, the prerequisites, Hadoop and PySpark combinedly, right? So if anybody wants to attend parallelly Hadoop and PySpark, right? At 5:30 and 7:30, both you will have entire, right? Okay, fine. This is for AD, right? So tomorrow, same time at 6 o'clock, we'll meet more discussion on this, right? Thank you all for your time. Thank you. Meet you tomorrow, right? Same link, same time. Thank you all for your time. Good night.